All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial for every aspiring entrepreneur in India. We're going to build the essential roadmap that takes you from that brilliant idea all the way to a legally solid, globally ready business. So you ready? Let's get started. You know how it is, right? It all starts with that one great idea. But have you ever really stopped to think about what turns that spark into a real, lasting business? An empire, even? What's the secret sauce? Now, a lot of people think it's just the product or the service, and yeah, that's important. But the real key, the foundation of it all, it's having a rock-solid legal structure underneath everything. Okay, so you've got the idea locked in. Awesome. Now what? Well, the very first major decision you have to make, the first stop on our map, is figuring out what kind of legal entity your business is going to be. And trust me, this isn't just about filling out some forms. This is about building a shield that protects not just the business, but you and your personal vision as you start to grow. Now, to make sure we get this right, our guide for this journey is coming from a super reliable source. We're pulling directly from the official study material for India's corporate and other laws, so you know the info is solid. It's coming straight from the experts who live and breathe this stuff. And this really gets to the heart of the matter for every founder, right? It's that classic dilemma. On one hand, you've got this incredible dream you want to build. But on the other, you've got your personal life, your home, your savings, everything you've worked for. So the big question is, how do you go after that dream without putting everything you own on the line if the business hits a rough patch? It's a huge, huge question. Well, there's an answer, a modern solution to that exact problem. It's called the Limited Liability Partnership, or LLP for short. And believe me, for entrepreneurs in India today, this thing is an absolute game changer. So let's break this down, because the difference is huge. Imagine a traditional partnership. If the business racks up debt, well, creditors can come after your personal stuff. We're talking your car, your house, your savings. It's all fair game. It's scary. But with an LLP, it's totally different. It builds this legal wall between you and the business. The business's debts, they stay with the business. Your personal assets are safe and sound. That right there is the promise of limited liability. So how does that work? It's actually pretty cool. The law, specifically the LLP Act of 2008, essentially treats the LLP as its own separate person. It's an entity all on its own, completely separate from you and your partners. It can own property, it can get into contracts, it can even sue or be sued. And it's that legal separation that acts as your financial firewall. It's what keeps you protected. And the benefits don't stop there. What's great about LLPs is that they're pretty straightforward to incorporate. They give you a clear rule book for how you and your partners will work together, which avoids a lot of headaches later on. And yeah, you have to be transparent with your finances, which is a good thing for everyone. Plus, they're super flexible. You can transfer your partnership rights or even convert an old school firm into a shiny new LLP. It's built for how business works today. Okay, so you've picked your business structure. Great. But now you hit the next big challenge, actually making sense of the rule book. I mean, let's be honest, legal documents can feel like they're written in a completely different language, right? But don't worry, there's actually a key, a sort of decoder ring for all of it. And that key is something called the General Clauses Act of 1897. The best way to think about it is like a universal dictionary for all other Indian laws. Its whole job is to make sure that a word like, say, financial year means the exact same thing no matter which law you're reading. It creates consistency and cuts down on confusion, which is so important. Let's look at a few quick examples so you see what I mean. When the law says financial year, this act tells us that means April 1st to March 31st. Simple. What about good faith? Well, it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means you have to be honest in what you're doing. And immovable property? That's land and anything attached to it. See, this act just gives everyone a clear, common starting point. But what happens when a simple definition isn't enough? You know, when the wording is still a bit fuzzy or the context makes things complicated? Because let's face it, the law can get really complex. Well, for those situations, there's a whole other toolkit that judges and lawyers use. It's all about figuring out what the law really meant to say. And it's basically a three-step process. Step 1 is the literal rule. Just read the words and take them for what they say. Plain and simple. But if that still doesn't clear things up, you move to step 2, the mischief rule. This one's cool. You ask, what problem or what mischief was this law trying to fix in the first place? Understanding the why behind the law often helps you understand the what.
And finally, step 3 is using aids, looking for clues inside the law itself, like its title, and outside clues, like historical context, to get the full picture.
All right, let's fast forward a bit. Your business is doing great. It's thriving. And now you're thinking bigger. You're ready to take it global. Maybe you want to sell products overseas, work with clients in other countries, or even bring in some foreign investment. This is amazing. But it also means you're about to open up a whole new chapter on your legal map. Because the second your business starts dealing with foreign currency, boom, you've entered the world of a really important law called the Foreign Exchange Management Act. You'll hear it called FEMA, and it's from 1999. Think of FEMA as the official rulebook for any money crossing India's borders. It controls everything: how you handle foreign exchange, how you make payments to someone outside India, and how you receive payments from them. It even gets into things like owning property in another country and defining your residential status, which is super important for taxes. Bottom line, if money is moving internationally, FEMA is the law you need to know.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground here, haven't we? We went from choosing a partnership to decoding legal language, all the way to global finance law. So, why does any of this actually matter? What's the big takeaway? It's this: these laws aren't just a bunch of boring rules. They are your toolkit. They're the tools you absolutely need to build a business that's strong and built to succeed.
And this is maybe the most important point. So many of us see the law as a roadblock, right? A long list of things you can't do. But that's the wrong way to look at it. You have to see it as the blueprint for your business. It's what gives you the structure, the support, and the clear path forward, so you can build something that's not going to fall apart when things get tough. I mean, just think about the path we've laid out. You start by protecting your idea and yourself with an LLP. Then you learn how to actually read the rulebook using the General Clauses Act as your guide. And finally, you get the keys to take your business onto the world stage with FEMA. The entire map, it's right here. So I want to leave you with one final thought. Now that you have this roadmap, what's the one legal question you're going to ask before you start your next big thing? Is it going to be, how do I protect my personal assets? Or maybe, are the rules for this clear? Or even, how do I set this up for global success? Just asking that first smart question, that's your first real step on the journey from just an idea to a real-life empire.